It is the Nintendo Powercast, episode 399. I'm one of your four hosts, N64 Josh. Johnny, what's up over there in the top corner?
What's going on? Imagine if you miscount it and we completely botched this up.
Well, there's so many bonus episodes that we were probably on like episode 500. But as far as the main show, 399. Crawler, what's going on, baby?
Hey, how's it going? Crawler coming at you.
Cheesy, what's up?
What's going on, cheese curds? I mean, I'm not an accountant, but 499 sounds like it's one away from 500.
499. You mean 399?
399. I told you, I'm not an accountant.
Let me get my calculator out. Hold
on. The Switch calculator. I love it. Well, guys, before we jump into this, first, thank you so much for being here with us live. 7:30 Pacific, but we're half hour late tonight, so it's 8 o'clock right now. But
we usually do shenanigans beforehand, so
yeah. We shoot for 7:30, but we usually miss. But we're doing it live. Twitch, TikTok, YouTube. We are going to be switching over. Nintendo Powercast is going to be getting its own YouTube channel. It's going to have all of its own socials, your short form content. Everything is going to be moving to there. We're moving it off of N64 Josh and over to its own like Twitch, everything. It's gonna have all of its own socials, so you'll be able to connect with us via the new channels. We'll have links for that in the Discord and everything. Speaking of the Discord, jump on in n64josh.com/discord. We'd love to see you, love to chat with you. And we have a meetup happening next week because we are going to be in Denver. All of us are going to be together in Colorado. And the meetup is going to be tentatively at a brewery. Stay tuned to the Discord. We've talked about a couple that we've been kicking around a few different places, but one of them kicks everybody out that's under the age of 21 at 7 p.m. And so we just want to make sure everybody has a chance to hang out as long as possible. So stay tuned to the Discord for that. But if you are in the Denver area, reach out to us. If you're not in the Discord, my DMs are open on Twitter. However you communicate, if you hit me up on Instagram, I try to check all my socials. You can even email info@n64josh.com or no, I think there's even an NPC at n64josh.com. There is. So you can email npc@n64josh.com and I will see that as well. So we would love to see you guys, love to hang out with you, and hopefully some of you turn out. I can see who's Kyle over on TikTok. He's gonna be there for sure, and it's gonna be a really good time. I do want to let you guys know that if you would like to get this show without ads, there is a link in the description where you can sign up for a monthly subscription for, I believe, $6.99 a month. You will get every episode that comes out with no ads whatsoever. So there you go. With that,
I'm doing this just to screw a servant.
Okay. Perfect.
Switch it up just to screw with his OCD.
I love it. Johnny, where are all the places people can connect with you?
I am Johnny Bo everywhere: Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. That's about it.
Perfect. Cheesy, how about you?
You can find me on TikTok, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, CheezyC64, CheezyC64.
And Crawler, how about you?
TikTok and Twitter are the best spots. Nightcrawler724, Nightcrawlers without the E. Check it out there.
All right. Well, Cheesy, you are going to kick off this conversation because you have had the most time with Sports Story and have probably been the most disappointed, like most of the people that have reviewed this game. So let's talk about it. I was checking reviews on like Nintendo Life, and I think they gave it a 6.
It's pretty disappointing. And so I guess just to give some backstory, Golf Story is a really fun game if you haven't played it. It's an RPG golf game, and it's really charming. The writing is really good. The music is fun, and there's kind of think of the game as a putt-putt theme throughout the whole game, so there's some wackiness that you wouldn't be expecting, but it still is golf. So Golf Story was great, and the most anticipated sequel, I guess, for indies, one of, because we're all waiting for Silk Song. But the other one was Sports Story, and the fact that they were adding other sports and it wasn't just going to be golf. And we didn't really hear anything about it. I forgot when it was announced, but then they had a delay trailer, which that in itself was really charming. And it was like, okay, you know what? You guys take your time because I know this is going to be a good game. And it was just cute, them saying like, yeah, coach said that we need more time and that our game isn't ready. And like when they were talking about their game, they were talking about like their skills with different sports and that they had to learn, and it was just cute. So we waited, and then we didn't hear anything about a release date until November of 2022, and that it was going to be releasing in December. So just a month away. It released on the day, I forget what.
The
Date-
22nd
It
or
was like the
23rd?
23rd. I think it was the 23rd.
It was right.
It was the last day of the indie advent calendar thing that they did, 5 days of.
Yeah, and that was
Whatever.
great too, because I mean they were really kind of hyping up that Sports Story was going to be the last big announcement, like the last day that you were tuning in for this advent calendar. And then it dropped, and there was like no word of, hey, Sports Story is out, go check it out, go get it. It was just
I didn't see anything from outlets. Like, did they not get copies ahead of time? I don't even know.
I don't know.
A lot of outlets also shut down like that week leading up into Christmas. So
True. That's a good point. So I had bought Sports Story because I was just really excited for it. And then I think it was the very next day, there was a video that was circling around that there was a hidden room in the game. And it's the developer's room. And there were certain things that you had to do to even find this room. And like you had to move boxes in a certain way. And that somehow pushed you out of bounds of the game. There's a whole video on it. I'm sure we can put it in the description of our show notes. And when you get to the developer room, it's not just like a fun Easter egg. This is something the developers put in there for a reason. You get in there and the developers start talking about the game Golf, GALF, which was the game that they made in Golf Story within their world, and talking about how the sequel is taking longer than they thought, that development hasn't been going great. Their vision has been changing. There's a joke about the menu being broken. So let me get into my experience with Sports Story. All of that being said, I wanted to go in with an open mind and just play it, see how it goes. You start up the game, and it's just this image of Sports Story. There's no menus that you can click on.
I think I saw a timer. Somebody put a timer video up, and it took like 16 to 18 seconds, I think, before
Yes.
anything even popped up on screen.
Yeah. So the joke about the menu not working in their fake game is them talking about Sports Story. And that's, I mean, you just know that what the developers had in mind is not what they wanted. And I think that's a huge bummer. It sucks that we have reached a point in game development where it takes either longer than it should, or that it's always being changed behind the scenes. And that's kind of something that we don't really talk about because we don't know that side of it. And we're always having to see these scrambles in the changes in the schedules and being changed. And when it comes to Sports Story, you just feel bad for them. But the game itself is not good. And they recognize it, and I'm sure, you know, they had to get it out at some point. But it's rough. And when it's not that it's not playable. I'm still playing it. I'm on chapter 4. But really, it's a lot of fetch quests. And the sports kind of come secondary. Like, they're there for side quests. And sometimes you may have to learn how to play like cricket, for example. But when I was learning how to play cricket, they give you the buttons, but don't really tell you what it is that you have to do. I've gotten
It's the most popular sport in the world. You should know.
I I thought that I learned it at a young age, and then I was like, oh no, this is baseball. So I was there's one quest where it's like, hey, let's kick a goal. There's no goal around. So I'm trying to figure out, okay, in the developers' minds, in this fun, wacky way, what am I kicking the goal at? So I found these like pine cones, because it's not even a soccer ball. So I found these pine cones that you have to kick around, and then it soft locked me. And I was like, okay, so that's frustrating. And
What I
just,
have
like,
played has been kind of obscure. It's slow. It's
yeah,
it's a
it does
lot of
kind of
walking
chug a
around,
little bit.
going to the mall, doing like it's very. I think it would have been better served to get you into a game right off the bat
Mhm.
versus wandering around on the beach trying to pull out a golf club out of the sand, and you're with limited stuff, and you're dealing with like mobsters or something like that at the next golf course, and it's just
Yeah.
very obscure.
I kind of appreciated the beginning of it, like on the beach, what you're talking about, because it was like, okay, go to the tennis court. Now go try to kick a soccer ball, or, whatever it was that they were wanting us to do. And that kind of felt like the tutorial. And that was a way of just like, this is what you do. Okay, we're done with that section. Now go have fun. I'm gonna be honest, like, it's been more of a chore than it has been fun. And I'm getting through it. Like I said, I'm only on chapter 4, so maybe it gets better from there. But one of the things that for me is really lacking, I don't even know why I'm playing the story. I don't know who these characters are. Like, if you didn't play Golf Story, it's a really bad example of showing new players who these characters are.
Mhm.
And like the first game is all about this guy, and it's been a couple of years since I played Golf Story, so I don't remember if he had a name or not, but he's wanting to be like a champ when it
The
comes to
champ
golf.
at your like local golf club, right? And I think that's
Yeah. And he finds a coach. The coach doesn't want to teach him. It's a very kind of rocky underdog story, and that's what made it a lot of fun. Some of the golfers that this character is inspired by, it's kind of the whole like, don't meet your idols, because they're kind of jerks to him. Not all of them, but some of them just are thinking that they are better than you. And that, I don't know, like, it just had a really great story, and I don't know what the story is for this one. Like, they tell you a little bit without like spoilers. You do get kind of a story, but I feel like most of it, for example, there is a section where you need a boat, right? So you have to go find the person that wants you to go find the person that has a boat. So you find them. Then you go find the person that has the boat. The boat person says, okay, I need this much money. So then you have to go tell that person how much money they need. That person says, okay, great. See if they will do like a counter offer. So then you go back to the person that has the boat. That person says, yeah, that's fine. Go tell your friend. So you have to go back, tell the friend you're ready to get on the boat. And the friend's like, great, I'll meet you at the boat. So then you have to go back to the person with the boat. And it's just like, it doesn't make sense as to why there's so much, just nonsense of and not good nonsense. It's bad nonsense.
Is it just to maybe pad the runtime of the game? Like, how many hours have you played?
I can check on my Switch, but
has it been 10 days? I guess it's been 10 days.
yeah, I don't know. I'll check. I just I don't know. I mean, Crawler, how are you feeling with it?
I mean, I've put a little bit of time into it. I've gotten to
real quick. I just want to say, I know the developers had issues, and this is not the vision that they wanted. It's just disappointing waiting for this sequel for something that everybody was really excited about. And for it's not disappointing. It's a bummer. It's just a bummer. We have no control of how development goes. The product is what we get. but you weren't expecting it to be that way. You were expecting it to be even better than what the first one was. And
Yeah.
I just am not feeling that.
And I don't even know. I fell off the first Golf Story. I played a lot of it. I don't remember how close I got to the end or not. But like playing this one, I'm at the first main golf club that you're at, and there's a handful of different things to do around, and they don't really try to explain stuff to you, which is kind of a fun element that you have to try to figure it out. But once you figure it out, then that one kind of gimmick persists throughout, like lighting I don't know what it is, trash balls on fire or something like that, and you shoot them at. There's different things to do to unlock different areas of the course, and so you never like sit down and play a proper. That was kind of my problem later on in like the original Golf Story, was like you did so many random obscure things that you didn't like sit down and play like a proper 9 holes or 18 holes or whatever. It was always kind of random things that throughout, which I would like to have. It was fun to have the story element around with it, but like I did want to sit down and be able to play a little bit of golf, because the golf that they had, rudimentary kind of style golf, was still good. The little bit of volleyball that I played at the like intro on the beach like seemed very simplistic. I don't know how well other sports. I think I'm about to play tennis, I think, in the air where I like I said, I've kind of fallen off. I was playing more God of War this week than my Switch, but I'm worried about, I guess, implementing controls and just how it's going to feel with other sports being in there. I'm excited for like the Excite Bike stuff. I mean, it looks like they integrated. They at least in the trailer, it looks like there's Excite Bike type levels in there for you to do dirt bike stuff, but I don't know. It hasn't hooked me really, I guess, to say.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have benefited more to just do another Golf Story? Maybe trying to shoehorn the other sports into it. Like, do you think that could have caused them some issues?
Yeah, it makes you wonder if that was a development decision, if they wanted to add sports, or if that was just a higher up. Well, I guess, I mean, they're an indie team, so I don't know how high it goes. Again, I'm not an expert when it comes to this. I'm just speculating that maybe they only wanted to do a Golf Story 2, but then somebody was like, let's add sports. But if you go into that developer's room that's in the game, they talk about how this was way too ambitious of an idea for them to even do in the first place. And I will say that there's actually some really cool ideas in the game. I just wish that they were implemented better.
What I liked about the original Golf Story is like it was golf, but they also had like disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was in the same vein, but like it was a different feel to it.
Yeah.
So from what you guys are saying, it sounds like they tried to implement a bunch of different sports. So maybe, limiting that to, 2 or 3 could have helped them not have to try to figure out how to develop all these types of gameplay mechanics.
Yeah.
If I remember right, wasn't original Golf Story, weren't they originally developing it for Wii U and then they moved it over to Switch?
Yeah, that sounds right.
So I mean,
Golf Story came out.
It came out in the first year of Switch. It was one of the that was on almost everybody's list of indie games that you need to buy on the Switch. It's what kind of helped make the Switch the indie powerhouse that it has been and continues to be.
Josh, what are your thoughts? I know that you probably, I don't think that you were going to buy this game anyway, but just from what you have heard, what it's kind of going through your head.
I tried to really get into the first one, and I just think there was other stuff that was pulling my attention at the time. And so this one, I felt like I was more cheering with the community. Like a lot of people were excited for it. I'm like, cool. I'm glad you're excited for it. You know, if it had been the game that everybody was hoping it would be, I probably would have picked it up. But I did pull up patch notes for the upcoming patch that I
Okay.
don't know if it's out yet. This is as of December 31st from Sidebar Games. So I don't know if this is, I don't know if the patch has been approved yet, because we're still, this was, you know, like I said, this is a
It's
couple
got to go
days
through
old
Nintendo
now,
quality
so-
assurance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, but here's some of the stuff that they're fixing. Miscellaneous. Various effects were made related to golfing, general performance, getting stuck on miscellaneous challenges. For more specific problems that might have trapped you, see below. If your issue is not listed, feel free to email info@Sidebar Games. So, Tennis Academy. Speaking to the receptionist a second time after starting the baby court task will reset your progress, but advance your mission. After downloading the patch, speak to the receptionist again and fix your quest progress. Hitting the gong twice in a row can advance your mission progress. After downloading the patch, hit the gong again and fix your progress, unless you've already continued playing after this point. A clue can be looted through the fence in the basement, meaning it will not be there when you need it later. After downloading the patch, the clue will return when you need it. The challenge on the left side will give a punch card now. The baby tennis match should be less confusing. I mean, these are
Yeah.
wild like these are wild patch notes here, you know.
So my version is 1.0.2. So I don't know if that.
So it's 0.3 that's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. Impressing Kelly Gibbon. Leaving and returning would make Kelly's challenge starter disappear. After downloading the patch, speak to him again to get the challenge to reappear. Returning to the Dark Whispers. This isn't a bug, but people have become stuck. Returning to the place where the cat breaks the bridge. When the perpetrator shows up to escape, return through the previous rooms and push the coffee machine out of the way from the left side. Catching bees. Sometimes
Sounds like a
there was
walkthrough.
right? It's a little bit like
This is
that's
what you
in
have
the
to do to complete this mission.
yeah. We couldn't make it clear enough, so we're gonna tell you. Sometimes there are not enough bees entering the hive when you try to catch them. People with this issue will be able to proceed by waiting a certain amount of time during the challenge. Chase trade. Chase will not accept the offering trade if you don't have more than $3 in your possession. This will be fixed in the patch, but it is possible to get past this in the meantime by making sure you have the cash. Silver mines return. Running to the silver mines on the minecart could cause you to become stuck. That's all it says. There's nothing else there, so don't go back there.
The
I
thing about
guess.
patches is you can't change the game, right? Like you can only really patch performance, so you can't change missions in the game. Like the
Yeah.
going back and forth for the boat, like that's still going to be in the game. Like you can't get rid of it.
Yeah, there is one section where it's a dungeon, and the way that you have to like operate or go through the dungeon is really cool. And I mean, it's more putt. And if you like get it through the hole, certain things will open or you'll unlock something. And I really enjoyed that part of it. But I also was kind of just over it. Like I've done so many little side quests, and then you put me in a dungeon that is different. But I'm also like, what is this? This is not the game that I thought it was going to be. And so I think my expectations kind of just dropped. And we haven't really heard anything from Sidebar Games other than the patch notes. Like people have tried reaching out to them about this game and how the development went, and they're just silent. They don't really want to talk about it.
Ugh. Sounds messy.
But
In that secret room, didn't they say something about being under crunch too? Like, wasn't there?
Yeah, and
something
writing
about-
getting changed, and certain characters in the room. There's a character that has a catchphrase, and one of the other characters in the room was like, "Sounds like they're saying a lot that isn't saying anything." And so there's a lot of disagreement on the writing, and then the music was changed, and one of the characters is like, we already had the music for the first game that sounded great. I don't know why we're changing it so much from what the first game was. a lot of just creative disagreements. But Cryptic asks, are games becoming too ambitious? Feel performance issues are starting to become a common thread. Pokemon, Callisto had PC issues. Sports Story, will Zelda suffer the same? I don't think Nintendo can let Zelda suffer. If I mean, from what we know of Metroid Prime 4, I think is a good example. They didn't like.
They'll burn it to the ground before they let it come out bad.
You imagine
Yeah.
if a video comes out like tomorrow, and they're like,
I'm not eating
"Sorry,
another
we gotta
hot chip,
restart
Johnny.
Tears. We gotta restart Tears of the Kingdom." But I mean, even Breath of Wild chugged in places.
In places, yeah.
Yeah,
But,
when you're running
yeah.
through a bunch of guardians are trying to shoot lasers at you, I mean, it's gonna slow down a little bit.
I don't know if games are too ambitious or they're just not given the amount of time that they need to be polished, because Pokemon cranks out games like no other,
Because they got to keep the train moving down the tracks to
yeah.
fuel the
I
other
think-
stuff that they're trying to sell.
I think the new cards are coming out this week, so yeah, they need to keep that moving. Sports Story, it's been 5 years or so since Golf Story, so whoever is running that company is probably like, we can't spend any more money or time on this. We got to get it out. People are going to buy it no matter what. But yeah, I think it has a lot to do with money, and the higher ups don't really know what goes on in the development process, so it's corporate.
I'm going to throw a little monkey wrench into the conversation here after we read Lacey's comment. It says the amount of time they've crafted Tears of the Kingdom, it better not need immediate patch.
All games need an immediate patch, because the going gold anymore, especially with the Switch tax of needing carts and stuff and all that, games have to get shipped out, and developers have the luxury of making you connect to the internet to update their game.
Well,
Mhm.
that
and they
game's
can
done
continue
now,
to
right?
work. They don't stop working when a game goes gold.
The game's
Going
rated,
gold just
so it
means
must be done.
it's the game that's going to get shipped for the carts. It's the game version that's going to be pushed out on the store, the digital store, and then that buys them another 3 months to keep working on something and patch it up.
Johnny, you think it's done?
Well, isn't it rated? I thought it got a rating.
I think you're right.
Is
I
it
think
teen?
it's
Or
E
is
plus.
it E10
Yeah, it's E10.
or whatever? I think the ESRB has changed ratings quite a bit. I don't know what they are anymore, but
It's at least close if it's not already done.
Peggy
So
12.
is the monkey wrench, or the question, I guess not necessarily monkey wrench, but the question is, did this game get delayed strictly for the special edition console so that it wouldn't overlap with the Pokemon one?
You're talking about Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
It seems odd. How many? All right, so they had Splatoon Special Edition in September.
September. Okay.
I feel like Splatoon Special Edition probably cannibalized the Pokemon Special Edition a little bit.
Well, in Japan, probably.
Really? Over Pokemon?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, those are two.
I mean, the
massive-
Pokemon one wasn't that great looking, was it? In comparison to the Splatoon one, like the Joy-Con.
The dock was really cool. I like the dock of the Pokemon one.
And they had like the school emblems on the Joy-Con.
Yeah, which you'll never go to class ever, so that doesn't matter.
I didn't go to class that whole game, and I beat.
But yeah, I mean, that was only a 2-month gap. So now Tears of the Kingdom's coming out in May.
I think, I mean, we've talked about it before that there wasn't a Zelda release last year. And if there was, we've been counting Majora's Mask as that Zelda release on the expansion pack. So I think it was supposed to come out last year. And we don't know what happened behind the scenes, but maybe it was Pokemon that got in the way.
I just wonder. And technically, Nintendo's fiscal year is gonna start. This is like a launch title for the fiscal year base. I mean, it's 2 months.
Yeah.
2 months in.
Yeah.
2 months in. So
We never see the sales for the special editions, though.
we don't. No, but going back, I remember now we kind of transitioned over to Tears of the Kingdom and this Switch and stuff. But the question I want to bring up is, with a game like Sports Story that seems to have lacked the funding, the team for the size of the project, what do you guys think now about Game Pass and knowing that development costs are covered by Microsoft when their game is launched there? And anymore, are we seeing more and more the benefit of games being there versus not? Do you think this game, I guess the question is, do you think this game would have been better off coming out on Game Pass with knowing that the development development would have been covered and the potential for a bigger team and maybe a more polished game? What do you think, Crawler?
I mean, I think those contracts vary title to title when it comes to support that Microsoft lends. That also comes with caveats that I think you're signing some form of exclusivity. I think they wanted to stay honoring kind of the fan base that made them what they were with Golf Story. I mean, pretty soon all the games are going to be owned by 3 companies anyway with the way we're moving. I mean, I don't think that the Blizzard Activision thing is bad for Microsoft, but the more and more that they acquire, I mean, that puts people on islands, I guess. If exclusives are something of the business, but when a game would maybe potentially jump platforms, I think that developers also don't necessarily want to do that and stay loyal. And right now the Switch is 114 million units or something like that out there. That's a
118.
decent.
It just passed the Game Boy.
So I mean, they have a large fan base to sell to, but I mean, indie development is feast or famine, and you gotta either go get funding from somewhere. So I don't know if EA has that program that they help indie developers. Microsoft has found a way to promote indie games with support, with kind of giving them a platform to launch into Game Pass with. I don't know if PlayStation helps foster any of that kind of stuff, but maybe it would be beneficial if Nintendo could come up with some kind of program to help some of those
Put in
indie
the Nintendo
devs.
Direct. That's what it is. That's their help right there.
Which I mean, Golf Story or Sports Story was there. I mean, they were being promoted.
I mean, I think that's the other part of it, is that when they had Sports Story as their last game of that advent calendar, it really hyped it up, and that's what people were wanting to see. And what we got is not what we were expecting. And maybe that's shame on us, because even though we're the ones that's buying the product, maybe we shouldn't have high expectations every time a new game comes out. Like, I don't know. Like, I go back and forth on, like, yes, we're the consumers, we're the ones that are paying for it. But at the same time, like, you can't rush art, right? And even though it's been like 5 years, maybe they needed longer. And it sucks that you have to be stuck to a schedule that tells you when you have to release the thing that maybe you're not even happy with. So I do feel bad for them. But it's a bummer to see the way that this all played out. And was it Jason Shriver who was also talking about this week, that games are probably being in development for PlayStation 6 right now?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's another conversation in itself. Are games getting too long? Like, do they need that much development? Because for the most part, nowadays, the way that live service games are working, like those are the games that most people are playing.
Fortnite's been on how many consoles now, or how many
Yeah.
generations?
Yeah.
Two, at least two, right?
Mhm.
Has it only been on
Minecraft's been
360,
around
or was it
forever.
on
Yeah, Minecraft has been around.
Minecraft's been
360,
on?
not 360.
Yeah, Minecraft's the one that's been on the most consoles, probably,
Yeah.
because it was on
Yeah. It's on DS.
Or you could just
or
360,
2DS anyway.
360, then one, and then
We
current
release the
gen
same
systems.
game every time with GTA, you know.
It's working
But
for them.
I think going back to Josh's point about being on Game Pass, I don't think they're going to have problems selling this game. I think a lot of people are excited for it. They're going to buy it no matter what. I don't think, it's not going
I'm
to
gonna
have
check
as
the
much.
eShop right now, see where it's sitting, if it's in top sellers. I'm sure it is.
It probably won't sell as much as Golf Story, but they'll probably sell a decent amount. It might tarnish their reputation.
Yeah, what happens to their next game?
Then their next game's a comeback game, and it could be amazing.
Comeback story writes itself.
Yeah, exactly. Man. There you go. Comeback story.
And it's all boxing.
Yeah.
So you mentioned
Get
Silk
up,
Song
Rocky.
a couple times. Does this worry you about Silk Song?
I mean, I know. So Crawler is shaking his head no. Team Cherry has been very quiet, which makes me feel like they're just kind of keeping their cards close to their vest. And the way, I don't know. I mean, I want to say the same thing that I said about Hollow Knight. Like, Hollow Knight was an amazing game, but maybe it's wrong of me to have high expectations for Silk Song.
Silksong was
no
playable.
way-
Silksong was playable on the E3 floor. What, 2019?
It's a different game now. That's a completely different game.
No, I just think that game is so. It was. I don't know what I've seen gameplay footage from like Tom Marks and IGN when they like went and recorded stuff over the shoulder, but like that Hollow Knight is so expansive, and I feel like Silksong is going to be even bigger. It's a 2D Metroidvania with Dark Soul elements to it. I mean,
See, I'm worried that it's going to be too small because it was supposed to be DLC, right? For Hollow Knight.
It was supposed to be DLC, but then that was shelved a while, and they had 3 different versions of DLC come out for Hollow Knight, and it integrates in so you don't even know it's there. Like the version of Hollow Knight I played had the DLC on it already, and you just go face new bosses, and if you didn't know that they weren't there, then it just feels like it's part of the game. So you're not entering a different area. Like I remember playing what is it? The Horizon Zero Dawn. Like you get to that Frozen Wild section, and it like has a title screen pop up when you walk into it. Like it announces that you're getting into like the DLC section, which Hollow Knight didn't do that. And so Silksong evolved to be from being like, I think what was going to be kind of standalone DLC to being just the standalone game with a character that you're familiar with from Hollow Knight. And I think it's going to be just as expansive as Hollow Knight 1. Like
there's also cutscenes, right? In Silksong, what we have seen.
I'm trying to think about Hollow Knight. I feel like Hollow Knight had not necessarily cutscenes, but I don't know. I mean,
maybe there were like images that popped up,
yeah,
and that kind of told the story. But I'm pretty sure that we see some movement in some Silksong clips.
Speaking of Hollow Knight, Hollow Knight's higher on the top bestsellers on the eShop than Sports Story. On just I had to go. I actually had to go to the digital only list for bestsellers to find Sports Story. It's not even on the regular one.
Oh wow.
And it's number 13 on digital only right now. So Sports Story, I don't know if it's selling as well as they were maybe hoping.
So Hollow or Silk Song is on Game Pass. Is going to be on Game Pass. Now with the
Yeah,
now Josh
and
is saying that covers their development costs. Does that worry you that they're gonna
well, no, like I said,
slack?
the Game Pass thing, it fluctuates game to game, and it depends on the contract that they strike. Like, what was the one that was the cover based shooter that came out on Game Pass?
Gears of War.
Gears of War.
The one that it was whatever it was. By Humans Can Fly. I forget what the name of the game is. Is it Dark
Bulletstorm?
No. What was the name of that game, Josh?
Outlanders.
And
yeah,
and that got
that
heavily
trash.
subsidized by Game Pass, but like it couldn't save it.
That and Back for Blood. So there's been some bad Game Pass stuff.
Team Cherry, I think they were originally it was a Kickstarter. Like that's how Team Cherry started, and Silk Song was a stretch goal, and then it got they were developing it, and they had so many ideas that it grew out of being DLC sized, and they evolved it, and it's taken them quite a while. I think a fear of the game being too small, I don't think is something I have.
I think it's in good hands, but I think we would have said the same about Sports Story. So I think that to me, it's the time. The fact that I don't remember if I played Silk Song or not, but I know it was right in front of me at E3, and it still hasn't come out yet. I think they're giving it all. I mean, I wonder if they ran into development issues, got it on Game Pass, and then were able to keep going the way they were. My gut feeling is if it hadn't hit Game Pass, we would have seen it with another Sports Story situation.
Well, and over a year ago, they had a cover story on what was it, Edge magazine or whatever about Silk Song.
Mhm.
So, and Team Cherry has just they've been very quiet about it. But Team Cherry is two guys down in Australia. I don't know how much they've expanded, but like that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of another Game Pass game that went to the Switch, how's Tunic, Cheesy?
Tunic is a totally different experience than Sports Story. And it's funny, I've been thinking about it a lot with our conversation on tutorials. And I feel like, Johnny, this is the game for you because it just
it's a Souls-like. That's why.
It just throws you in. And you're collecting these pages for your instruction booklet, but you can't read the instruction booklet. It's in a different language. So honestly, it's hard to talk about because I don't even know what the game is telling me to do yet. Like, it's really fun.
Kill things and die. That's what you do.
What was that?
Kill things and die. That is
basically. Yeah. And then you just learn from there. And I really like those kind of games. Like Celeste is another example of that, where they expect you to fail. And that also goes along with the story. But with Tunic, it's just a fun discovery. And when it comes to our conversation with tutorials, I agree. I don't think they need to be 2 hours long. I'm fine with a tutorial if it's just like this simple mechanics of how to get you started, and then you learn as you're playing. But we don't need tutorials that are 2 hours long and then get us into the game. And Tunic has been a lot of fun. I actually had the audio director pop into the chat last night, and that was just a wonderful surprise. Told us some things about audio directing and how one of the enemies, the noise that they make is actually their dog's gurgling stomach. They just pulled out their mic and got the noise of their dog's stomach and then put that in the game. And I just find that creativity so cool. And that's, again, we don't really know anything about game development, but that's part of it, I guess, kind of behind the scenes of how all of that works. So yeah, Tunic has been wonderful. I wish I could talk about it more, but I'm still pretty early on in the game. And
I started
maybe
it,
you started it.
and I still have a stick. Like that's my
Oh,
weapon.
I have a sword. I've started it on Xbox, and I have a sword, but I haven't gone very far yet either.
yeah.
Maybe
But
that
it's
would be
fun.
my flight game.
There you
Your
go.
flight game from Pennsylvania
Yeah.
to
It's
the Denver.
It's a 4-hour flight. So
Yep. It's faster going home. You got the wind behind you.
that's how I know aerodynamics. Yeah.
So I am going to just grab a handful of headlines that we can cover right off the top of my head from the emails from Nintendo this morning, because there's always Thursdays are always the Nintendo Business Wire updates. There are a lot of games on sale right now. A lot of games on sale. Yeah, somebody mentioned Celeste. Celeste is like 75% off right now if you've never played it. So
If
I
you've never
game.
played
suggest-
Celeste,
Pick it up.
It's also on Game Pass, so if you have Xbox and Game Pass, you can do it there. But even Sparks of Hope is on sale already. The Gold Edition is like 22% off or something like that. So if you're waiting to pick that one up, you are able. There is it was interesting for the Nintendo downloads. There was no like headlines from them. And you just went through this massive list of what I hate to just assume it's all shovelware, but like it's virtually getting no love other than this email from Nintendo. And it's not a small list. It's a pretty extensive list. And it's just like
there's
the
if you go to Great Deals, there's 2,800 games on sale.
Well, and
The Nintendo Switch has games.
the problem is it's become a little bit of a joke with some of the shovelware though, where it's just these. I don't know.
Bought something for 5 cents. It
Wow.
was called.
They're releasing games that are just like keyword search triggers. Like that's all they are, because they know how much of a mess the eShop is, and that they're like they don't sound like good games because they're just like poorly translated shovelware keyword search rich words that they just put it in there to try to get found.
There should be like a shovelware section of the eShop because it's so annoying. Man, the eShop sucks. They need to fix it for like the next whatever they're doing next, because it's so slow. I just get frustrated. I just want to give them money. Like, just let me buy stuff that I want. I don't want pet clinic cats and dogs.
Oh, that sounds fun. It sounds educational.
It's on sale for $6.
Well, so in that vein, like Nintendo they've been kind of slow about updating anything that's quote unquote free games for their subscription members. And I think this has been an ongoing debate for different outlets that I've been listening to as well. Like PlayStation this month has Jedi Fallen Order and the Mass Effect trilogy as their free games. And Xbox has been Xbox has Game Pass, but Xbox has been, I think, dragging their feet on what their free titles are for games with gold, and it's been less and less.
They just want you to forget about games with gold. Right?
Kind of. They don't want you to forget about games with gold. They want you to buy Xbox Game Pass is what they want you to buy.
Yeah.
And they need to do almost a better job marketing it. Like, because PlayStation's thing, I don't even know what version I have. I have the cheapest version, but I couldn't tell you what it's called.
It's called Essential.
Because it's Essential Plus and Premium. PlayStation has horrible marketing with what their subscription thing is and what it does.
So they could give better games because it costs more, right? It's $60 a year. However, Jedi Fallen Order you could get for like $3 or $4 most of the time.
And it's on Game Pass, I mean, as well. So like Xbox needs to market like, hey, these games are being given to you free on PlayStation Plus, but like for $15 a month, you get Xbox Live and these games all included, blah blah blah. But like, we haven't seen an update to Nintendo Switch Online games or another free Tetris 99 or Pac-Man 99 or Mario 35 type experience in quite a while. The updates that
So
we
what
do
are we-
get
what
are
are we- we
trash
haven't even got
games
an
that nobody really wants to
N64
play.
game.
Yeah, where's GoldenEye?
So we paid for December, right? Technically, you pay for a year, right? But we
Mhm.
paid for December for the expansion pass. Got literally nothing for it.
Sega Genesis games. What's wrong with you?
Oh, did they have Sega Genesis?
Yeah.
They're
we got
doing a
less
bad
than
job
nothing.
marketing it. I haven't seen tweets or anything coming out about it.
Yeah, I don't remember what games they were, but we did.
You
get
should
some
have
Sega Genesis
notifications turned on for Nintendo's Twitter.
I do, and that's the thing. I don't feel like they've been tweeting a whole. They've been tweeting about Fire Emblem, which I'm excited for. But like, that's all. I feel like that's all they've been tweeting about lately.
You're not wrong.
Since October.
You're not wrong.
So it's like, does Nintendo need to do? I don't know. They don't give anything
TikToks?
away, really.
Yes, Nintendo. They need to do TikToks. There's 4 people here that could gladly get those going for you. So Crawler just smiles.
But I mean, does Nintendo Switch Online? What do we pay a month or a year for that?
Isn't it $80?
No,
50
no.
for the non-family pack?
Yeah, it's 50.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 50 a year.
So I mean, that's close to what PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live are, because isn't it 60 a year?
That's
for
true.
the-
Yeah, it is 60.
So I mean, they're getting closer, and I mean the value proposition is not there because
we're
online
getting
is
amazing online quality. You know, we only get disconnected from Splatoon 3
every
once
5
3
games.
matches.
I don't know. I'll say I think Splatoon has gotten better. It's not what it should be, but it has gotten better.
Yeah, now that less people are playing, it's
Oh,
There's a Splatfest this week. What are you talking about?
Is that
Is
is
there a
that
spot-
this
what-
week?
Or this weekend? Yeah,
What's it
It's
about?
the sweet,
It's
sour, and something
spicy.
and spicy.
spicy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh. I guess I should log in and claim my tea then. I don't know.
I haven't done the I haven't done the catalog stuff. Man.
What level are you now, Cheesy?
So catalog wise,
Yeah.
I gotta wait until February till the new catalog.
Yeah, but
But
you
you're already
don't
done.
I'm already done.
But don't you still get stuff though? Like,
Yeah, you get some things. Yeah, but
So
it's
the
like
catalog, we get a new one in February. Is that what you said?
I believe so. If I check the
time to grind out
Splatnet-
Splatoon this month.
I guess.
if I check the Splatnet app, I think the chill season ends in February. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good questions that we have tonight with Nintendo and where they're headed with their. I mean, it doesn't sound like we're getting a new console next year, so it's going to maybe be the same experience. Maybe the experience will change a little bit once the Mario movie is out, and then they can start making some shorts. Put that on the expansion pack, or maybe not even the expansion pack. It's just on the news site of the Switch.
Plus,
I
we
saw
haven't had a
something- I don't-
direct yet. Like,
True.
True.
We'll get a
We do-
direct in
February is
February.
usually a direct month. Are we
just
going to
be
see?
patient,
Are we
okay,
gonna
guys?
see
Just
something
be
before
patient.
Fire Emblem? Like, are they going to do a here's features of Fire Emblem mini direct kind
I
of?
feel
deal?
like they've been doing that every day on Twitter.
Twitter. Yeah.
That's the tweets you've been
Ignoring.
avoiding.
I saw something
There's a
about four
notification, oh,
houses
that's
have
clearly
different
Fire Emblem.
rings to do different things. I saw something about that. I don't know.
12 rings to rule them all.
Mhm.
Just real
What was
quick,
I-
it's the end of February, so
Okay.
we'll,
Oh, so
we'll
we're
see the
good.
new season in March.
I forget what I was going to say.
Sorry.
No.
Don't be sorry, Cheesy. I'm just kidding.
No, I mean that's just how I am. I don't know. My mom used to call me Pumbaa when I was younger because I just would say sorry for everything.
I remember. So I think I saw, I don't know if it was TikTok.
I will
You're gonna
declare and
forget again. You're
remember.
gonna forget again.
I think I saw it on TikTok or Twitter. I don't know, but somebody was saying the rumor mill was saying Tears of the Kingdom is the last like title.
Oh yeah, that very bold prediction that everybody's making, that Tears of the Kingdom
it's the last title that they're active development for the Switch proper. I can't believe that. Like, I mean,
it's a very easy prediction to make. And nobody's going to call you out on it.
That's a horrible prediction to make because that only gets you through half of the year. Like, there's no way a new console is coming out this year.
I think the rumor was one of the last. So, like, they could have something in the holiday, and that'd still be part of it.
I mean, Tears of the Kingdom only gets us through May, and that's as far as we know titles about. Because we have Fire Emblem this month, we have Kirby next month. What do we say is in March? Is there anything in March?
Octopath the same day as Kirby. March is Bayonetta.
And then you have Pikmin 4 at some point.
Yep.
Trilogy's in there somewhere.
Yeah, Metroid Prime Remastered and Metroid Prime 4. That's all in there. There's no way they don't release Metroid Prime 4 on the Switch. Like, they announced it for the Switch. They're not going to release it.
Is that going to be their Breath of the Wild, where they just keep pushing it?
It could be cross-gen, but they have to release it on the Switch. There's no way they say, well, just kidding.
Never say never with Nintendo. We still haven't seen Advance Wars.
Oh yeah, Advance Wars.
Yeah, or GoldenEye.
They're going to release that.
Or GoldenEye.
Yeah. Quickly, because I know we're getting close to our hour mark here. Interesting, especially with the discussion around, Tears of the Kingdom potentially being the last one of the last games developed. I'm not here for it. I think Nintendo's making too much money, just like they are with Mario Kart. If Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is any kind of an indicator that they are going to squeeze every penny out of the Switch, it's not there's no reason for them to update this thing. I think the vocal minority is very loud, but I don't.
I'm part of it. I want another Switch.
I get it.
You made multiple videos about it, Johnny.
Yes, I have.
I literally played
YouTube.com/JohnnyBo.
I literally played Fortnite on Switch the other night, like handheld.
Oh, it's not good.
And can you imagine a multiplayer game where your opponents move at 12 frames a second like the NPCs in Pokemon? That's what it's like playing Fortnite on the
I load in playing Fortnite with William, and he's sitting just on the couch over here playing on Switch, and I'm on my PC. The countdown timer, I know when he's gonna like finish his loading screen because the launch countdown timer for the battle bus is corresponding to when he loads into the game, because as soon as he loads into the prep island, we launch the battle bus because it's just waiting on him. That's what it is.
Speaking of Pokemon, I'm sure other people have talked about this, but it runs much worse docked than handheld.
A handful of games do that.
Why?
Which one was the one?
Xenoblade, right? Or that was the
Monster Hunter Stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But why though? Like, why would that happen? Why would that be the case?
Because it upscales when it's docked versus running native 720 or whatever.
So interesting. Like I was saying, talking about the new Switch, whatever the case may be, right? Talking about games not running well. Tears of the Fire Emblem is, according to Digital Foundry, is much better looking game than Three Houses, and seems to be running better. Now they are saying that it's not, it's not like it's not as open world technical powerhouse or anything, like it's not a game that's like pushing the limits, but in terms of resolution, dock mode displayed at just below 1080p, hovering around 972, while portable mode displays just below 720p. Again, Digital Foundry states that the overall image quality is a lot more consistent than Three Houses. Frame rate for the title is targeted at 30 FPS and proves to be relatively stable for the most part. with the occasional frame rate drops, particularly when transitioning from map to battle sequence.
That makes me wonder if their hub space is just smaller and more manageable than the monastery. The monastery was huge.
Mm-hmm.
The game's also stylized, right? Like it's not hyper realistic graphics.
Mhm.
It's anime stuff.
Right.
So,
But look at the water in Mario and Paper Mario. That was some of the
Look at the
best
water.
looking water.
Well, but the other thing is so is Breath of the Wild, right? And so is Tears of the Kingdom.
yeah, and those games look great though.
I just
And
think a
they
lot of the
run- and-
narrative online is people are saying, "Oh, it's not going to run." I don't think we're going to see. I don't think Nintendo would release. I think they would continue to compress to keep the game running relatively smooth, even if there's like, pop in and low draw distance. Like that's. But and again, I mean, they want to mess with the draw distance while we're in the sky areas on Tears of the Kingdom. They put clouds.
I mean, Sonic Frontier doesn't even play well on PS5. So,
but there are a lot of people, a lot of the conversations around that blame the Switch for that. The fact that it came out on Switch and was
Sega was trying to sell it to Japan, and Japan doesn't have as many PlayStations as they do Switches.
Yeah. It's just part of it's just one of the conversations I've been a part of in some of the Xbox crowd that were really excited for Sonic, and they blame the Switch for the, for it running so poorly.
I don't know. That game has more problems than performance.
Well, so I mean, how much of a how much of a huge leap can we have forward with Switch 2? If we're not going to get a Switch Pro, like if they go full on new console generation, quote unquote, but call it something smarter than Wii U, and but still keep it a hybrid console, the Steam Deck is powerful, but like they can't go to the price point like what Valve is selling the Steam Deck at. How much of a jump can we have? And I think it's got to be in a dock being the more powerful thing, and handheld being taking concessions, and the dock does more heavy lifting than what it's currently doing.
There's no reason for the Switch's tiny screen to be 1080.
Yeah, you keep it 720.
Yeah.
Because that's what the Steam Deck is.
Is anyone they're buying up used overstock of screens. The screen's going to be 1080. Like nobody develops a 720p screen anymore. It'll just run at a lower resolution on it. So YouTube or Twitch or whatever apps that you have on it can take advantage of the resolution, but the games don't necessarily have to in handheld. But I don't know.
It just seems like extra horsepower that's not necessarily, if that horsepower should go into frame rate, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Just stable frame rate across the board. Because like the Nintendo games look great, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, still one of the best looking games out there.
Not if you're playing online and you see the rubber banding.
That's
a different issue, though.
That's the online.
That, and you only know about that if you play with streamers.
In voice chat.
Yeah. Literally, it's so funny to me how fast chat picks up on. They're like, wait a minute, how what? I just hit you. Why did you not? I saw coins come out. You're like, yeah,
that was on your screen.
Yeah, that's only on your screen. Sorry. Like, my favorite though is when you're trying to avoid somebody and you're doing a good job avoiding it, and then you get hit and you're like, wait a minute, like that's not right. But what do you do? Well, episode 399 in the books. Thank you guys so much for being here with us live over on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. Remember, next week we are going to be in Denver. We're going to be all together recording episode 400. And who knows, it may be more than just 400. We may we may do a year of recording all in a weekend since we're all going to be in the same room. So, again, you're going to be able to see all of the
Strikers
new.
is going to be fun next week. That's
Hey,
the biggest thing.
Strikers will be fun. 4-player. Everybody bring your pro controllers. And yeah, it's we're going to be having a meetup again in Denver. So we would love to hang out with you guys. There's going to be information in the Discord and on Twitter as well. And like I said, my DMs are open, or you can even shoot me an email at npc@n64josh.com. So we love you guys. We appreciate you. We hope you're having an amazing new year so far. And we will see you all in the next one. Bye, everybody.